Tucker Carlson believes that there are real tragedies happening in the United States, but it's not tragedies involving children being ripped away from their parents at the border. It's not about migrant children dying under Border Patrol custody. It's about the fact that women are working. He has a big problem with that. And women are making money. He seems to have a problem with that. And that people have decided to not get married as early or not get married at all. He thinks that that's a real tragedy. In fact, he dedicated a segment to it on a recent episode of his show. Take a look.
Male wages declined. Manufacturing, a male-dominated industry, all but disappeared over the course of a generation. All that remained in many places were the schools and the hospitals, and both of them are traditional employers of women. In many areas, women suddenly made more than men. Now, before you applaud that as a victory for feminism, consider some of the effects. Study after study has shown that when men make less than women, women generally don't want to marry them. Now, maybe they should want to marry them, but they don't. Over big populations, this causes a drop in marriage, a spike in out-of-wedlock births, and all the familiar disasters that inevitably follow. More drug and alcohol abuse, higher incarceration rates, fewer families formed in the next generation. This is not speculation. It's not propaganda from the evangelicals. It's social science. We know it's true.
So it's interesting how he mentioned the fact that manufacturing jobs were either taken over by computers or robots. They were either shipped away to a different country. I mean, manufacturing jobs have diminished. They are disappearing. And those are jobs that were, for the most part, dominated by male workers. It is a tragedy that those individuals lost those jobs. And it isn't because women somehow miraculously had some sort of upper hand that they're now, in some cases, making more money than the males in their households, right? It's because they're working in female-dominated jobs that are not being shipped abroad, right? So as he mentioned, they're working in schools or they're working in hospitals. But women are not making more than men now because women's wages went up and men's wages went down. Men unfortunately lost their jobs because of what these corporations are doing to these manufacturing jobs. So I don't really know what the point of this whole segment was. Like, he doesn't offer any solutions, but this is not a feminist win. This is not something feminists were fighting for. They weren't fighting for men to lose their jobs.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's as usual, it's all in the framing. So he makes it sound like it's men versus women. Well, why would women want the guys to lose the manufacturing jobs? It's not their fault. Now, he doesn't say it's their fault, but it's implied in the segment. Well, but now women are making more. Well, what do you want them to do? Make less? Like, do you want them to give up their job? Do you want them to give up a raise? And those solutions are not offered. It's just, hey, Fox News viewers, men are making less than women. It's an outrage. Aren't you angry? Okay, but why? And what can we do about it? If you said to me, hey, let's get those guys new jobs, I say, I'm in. Let's do a Green New Deal, and it'll create tens of thousands of jobs. You want to agree to that? Right? No, I don't really want to give them jobs. Well, okay, then what are you complaining about? And what is your proposed solution? And the answer is, in reality, for the women to stay home.
Yeah, I mean, look, he doesn't even say that, right? It seems like he's implying that, but what I'm more frustrated with is how he's needlessly pitting men and women against one another, when in reality, it's these corporations that are outsourcing the jobs, or automation is now being utilized in certain manufacturing jobs. Like, that's the real issue. It's not because women are coming in and they're taking these jobs from the dudes and now these guys don't have jobs. That is not what's happening. They work in different areas, right? There are male-dominated jobs and female-dominated jobs. The male-dominated jobs are diminishing, and women are not getting an increase in their wages. They're still making, when you adjust it for inflation, the same amount of money. So this is actually a complete and utter disaster for everyone, not just men, but for women as well, for every household that's struggling right now financially. And instead of like talking about real solutions, he's just pitting two genders against one another. But he elaborates a little more. Let's see if he gives us some more answers about what the hell it is he's trying to talk about.
Those very same affluent married people, the ones who make virtually all the decisions in our society, are doing pretty much nothing to help the people below them get and stay married. Rich people are happy to fight malaria in Congo, but working to raise men's wages in Dayton or Detroit, that's crazy. This is negligence on a massive scale. Both parties ignore the crisis in marriage. Our mindless cultural leaders act like it's still 1961. And the biggest problem American families face is that sexism is preventing millions of housewives from becoming investment bankers or Facebook executives.
No, but you act like it should be 1961, right? Like, oh, people aren't getting. First of all, he doesn't even offer statistics about marriage, right? So, I mean, don't take anything he says at face value. Look into the marriage statistics. And look, millennials started to decide, hey, maybe I don't want to get married. Maybe I want to get married later in life, which is part of the reason why divorce rates have been going down, because people wait until they're a little older, a little smarter, and they want to pick the right partner for themselves. Some people might not want to get married. That shouldn't be the economic solution in the country. Unfortunately, too many politicians and talking heads like Tucker Carlson think the best solution to any type of economic or financial situations is just get married. No, it's not. It could actually be a disastrous decision to make. And then just one other thing I wanted to mention, this is incel porn, plain and simple, right? And I'm getting really tired of it, right? I see it happen with all sorts of right-wingers who see a market for it, and there are a ton of frustrated people out there, and I get their frustrations, right? And they're angry, and they're looking for a scapegoat, and what Tucker Carlson is doing right now is giving them a needless scapegoat, right? It's the women, they're working, they're making more money than men. No, but you just said it yourself. The jobs that men usually dominate are being shipped abroad. That is a problem. Let's find real solutions to it. Women are not the ones pushing for that. It's the corporations we should be focusing on.
So my last 2 cents here is he referred to there the mindless cultural leaders that are ignoring the quote unquote crisis in marriage and encouraging people to work more rather than raise families. Well, okay, well that is a little bit more clear implication that, hey, don't work more women, raise families. But they're the ones with the jobs. Like, in what world, Tucker, is it going to help if the husband in the family doesn't have a job for the wife to voluntarily give up her job? Like, you're not living in the real world. In the real world, they desperately need the woman to keep the job. Otherwise, they're not gonna make it. Then they're gonna go on food stamps, and then you're gonna yell at them again. And you're gonna do what Anna called insult porn, which I hadn't heard before.
Incel porn.
Incel porn.
Yeah, so I'm talking about.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Because I see. Yes, it gets the men to go. Oh, it's the women. They're making more money. It's exactly right. And so why are we having a conversation about how if it's women's fault or if they should stay home so no one makes any money? Why aren't we having a conversation about if you're so worried about those guys in Dayton, and we actually are, let's get them jobs. That's what progressives are trying to do. And so you're sitting here going, well, I mean, you should blame the elites, and there's actually rational arguments for why your wages have been stagnating because of the elites, but he doesn't get into that because that's money in politics and forbidden in right-wing circles to talk about. And then why are you blaming women when they had nothing to do with it?
Literally nothing to do with it. I mean, this is a problem that we've talked about on this show over and over and over again. By the way, even though manufacturing jobs are male-dominated jobs, there are some women throughout the country that have lost their jobs as well as a result of what the corporate world has decided to do. And so again, let's find real solutions instead of needlessly pitting, two genders against one another. And you think women don't want to get married? I mean, not every woman wants to get married, but there are women who do want to get married as well. There are women who want to get married and have financial stability with their partner. That is the most normal thing in the world. And so to say that women are the enemies here, or at least imply it, is not helping anything. You're not offering any real solutions. It's just this needless, like, culture war segment that doesn't need to happen.
Yeah, and they just don't do news at Fox News. All they do is culture wars. I mean, think about the gratuitous thing that he added there of a lot of women don't like to marry men who make less than them. Again, I have no idea if that's actually based on any study.
Doesn't provide any evidence.
That's right. There's no evidence to that. But even so, why mention it in this segment about guys who lost their manufacturing jobs in Ohio? It's just like a little more extra dig so that those incel guys, the angry male right wing goes, yeah, see, they don't like it when we make less money than them. They're putting us down. They're putting us down. I'm not gonna go bother talking about how we fix the actual rules in this country, the rules that allow the donors to control everything. They're the ones with real power. And I got news for you, by the way, a lot of those donors are males. Now, that doesn't make them worse people. We're not Fox News. I don't want any donor's class ruling us, whether they're males or females. It doesn't have anything to do with that, but Tucker Carlson's not gonna tell you. Can you imagine if he did a segment, oh, it's the men that are the problem. Almost all the donors are male. Of course he wouldn't do that segment because he knows his audience is male, and that would be insulting to them. And besides which, it doesn't make any sense, neither does this, right?
Yeah.
And for him to turn around and go, oh, you see that? They look down on you because you make less money now. It's just pouring salt on an open wound.
Definitely, yes. And if you think about that whole segment clearly, you realize that it's also insulting to men, right? It's insulting to men because if you buy into this notion that men are failing in society because of women, well then Tucker thinks that you're a failure, that you're weak, that you're easily destroyed by the women in the country.
Yeah, and look, think about that for a second. This is a great point. As a guy who fancies himself strong, in fact, we often say that Young Turks were too strong. That's including obviously and especially you guys, our audience. That's what it's named after. Would a strong man go, oh, a woman is making more money than me, I guess I'm gonna surrender? Or would they pick themselves up by the bootstraps and go try to find a job? And when they go to try to find one, we would not make fun of them. We would try to help them. Right. We would try to get them better wages and training so they can get a new job, and all the things that are constructive to help them. Instead of saying like, oh my God, you poor guy, a woman's making more than you. Can you believe that? It's their fault, isn't it? It's not your fault. Don't take personal responsibility. No, it is definitely the fault of the women. That's a preposterous thing to say, and it diminishes men as well as women. Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.